Hey there, welcome to LeadTV. I'm Kim Cray, and this is your weekly bite-sized chunk of leadership, know-how and wisdom to help you get the very best results from your team. So we're tackling a really important one today. So the question we are answering today it's a question that I'm asked, probably the number one question that I'm asked all the time, okay, by business owners and managers, and that is, how do I get my staff to do it, right? How do I get my staff to perform, right? Now, I think in order to understand how to achieve that, we've just got to take a step back and understand how we got here, okay, in this point of frustration, because it's going to shine a light on what caused the issue. So, I bet that if you are now a manager or a business owner, I bet that at some point, you were a really high performer in someone else's business, weren't you? Right? You were that superstar. You were that employee who smashed the targets, okay? Hit the goals, built the big clientele, had the waiting list, achieved all the goals. You were that person, okay? The high achiever, right? And how do I know that, by the way? Because they're the traits. That's kind of the mindset, the tendencies of the person that usually, eventually goes into their own business, okay? That's often what inspires it. You have a real passion for excellence. But for whatever reason, you either became a bit disillusioned by what was happening in that business, maybe other people not upholding the same standards, you felt like you were working really hard and other people were cutting corners and you were lost kind of your inspiration, or maybe you just thought, why am I working so hard for someone else? I'm going to do this for me. And often we think, they're making buckets of money. Look how easy this is. I'm going to go into business and make truckloads of money for me. And how's that going for you? But I digress. So back to that point of you were someone else's super high performer. So you then said, right, I'm going to go into business. Off you went, okay? So all went well and you're working really hard and you don't mind that because you're building a business. And then you got to the point where you thought, I can't do this on my own. I need help. I need staff. But in your mind, because you're a high performer, you assumed that everyone should be like that, right? Everyone would think like you. You're going to put on this staff member who's going to be a high performer just like you. Ta-da! And how easy is it going to be, right? But what probably happened as you fast forward months, maybe years, right? What probably happened is that down the track you realised that, well, hang on a minute, you're still working really hard because maybe they can't do the level of services that you do. Maybe they can't do them the way that you do. Maybe none of the clients feel confident with them, okay? But for whatever reason, you're still working really hard, okay? Like really hard, you're doing all the work, you're pulling in probably still 75% of the business income, but then your staff members bringing in maybe 25%, nowhere near target. So what that means now is that you're still doing all the work, but now you've got this extra huge expense of your staff member with all their entitlements and all their holidays and right, the list goes on, okay? So you've got this extra expense, which adds a whole other level of pressure, right? So it didn't really work out how you thought it was going to be. You thought it would make life easier, the business turnover probably would double, happy days. And that didn't happen, right? So what happened? How did you get to that situation where you employed someone but you're still doing all the work? Well, you have been programmed, if you like. The rules of the game that you mastered were all around individual performance. You were measured and rewarded based on what you could personally do. That's how we play as an employee, as a solo, an individual. It's all about what I can do, right? I'm measured on what I produce that week. But when you went into business, the whole game changed for you, okay? The rules of that game changed, but you are still playing by the old rules. So you're trying to run a business by the rules that it takes to be a high-performing solo, right? So whereas in the past, you were rewarded, the goalposts were set as to what you individually do. But as a business owner, no more. In fact, the more you personally do as you scale and grow, the more you are going to become a bottleneck. You're going to hold up the growth of your business, because the rules of the game now are around what you can get other people to do. So you're no longer rewarded or paid on your own efforts. You will be paid as a business owner on what you can coach, lead, manage, inspire other people to do. Not so easy, right? Okay, so that's the biggest shift you got to make. It's not about what you do. Stop trying to do it all yourself. Stop those habits of nobody does it like me, all the clients want me, give it to me, let me. Stop that, okay? It's keeping you stuck. You have to develop the skills of growing people, developing your team, right? So you need a new set of skills. We've touched on some of these things in previous LeadTV episodes, but I'm going to string them all together because they come into play now. So how do you learn this new set of skills? First of all, as we said, I think in our last episode, you've got to get it out of your head, okay? You have all of this expertise, but it's no good to anyone because it's stuck in your head, okay? Your staff don't see the world through your eyes. They don't see their work through your eyes. So what you've got to do is help them to do that. Get it out of your head, right? And get it into that format, written down, videos, whatever it's going to be, and turn this is how I do it into this is how we do it. This is our method. And each new team member you bring on board is trained thoroughly in your method, all right? And when you really master that, then you can shift clients from team member to team member without standards dropping, okay? You can maintain that excellence right across the board. That's the sign of great management and a really well-drilled, well-trained team, okay? So create your systems, get it out of your head. Then, obviously, grow your people. Prioritize the time to sit down and kind of imagine it like a software download. What do they need to know to be successful? What do they need to understand about their role, your business, their responsibility to your clients, what it is that we really do here, what we're trying to achieve? What do they need to understand so that they naturally do what you need them to do? So it just flows, okay? Help them understand that. So train them in your systems, train them in your culture, your values, your beliefs. I guess when it comes to expectations, you've got to have conversations around that. We talk a lot about starting clean and staying clean. Starting clean is when you bring someone into your business, you've got to set those expectations up front and get them off with a clean start. Performance in so many ways has been proven. There's studies around this that show us that performance is set in the first 48 to 72 hours, 2 to 3 days, right? And what happens in that time is your new team member is kind of elastic. They're open, they're new to the business, they're looking for direction from you. Show me what you want me to do. Is this what you want me to do? Is that okay? Is there anything else you want me to do? Okay, they've started a new job, they're keen to learn. But after the second to third day, habits begin to form. That kind of open mind starts to shut. That window closes. Okay, we've missed the opportunity. If you have not prioritized time to sit with them in that window in the first 2 to 3 days to embed your culture, your values, your standards, your expectations, then you know what's going to happen? If you didn't prioritize time for that and gained agreement and commitment to it, then guess what you're going to have to find time for down the track? Correcting bad habits, okay? So you either prioritize time and get it right now, or you deal with the drama down the track, okay? That's starting clean. Get all of that on the table up front, get agreement to it. Then it's about staying clean, which is coaching, communication. It's your continual coaching routine, which is your morning huddle, lift the energy, set the focus for the day, okay? Your night review, bookend it, bring the energy down, acknowledge great efforts, find some learning experiences and reset your expectation for tomorrow. And around we go. Lift in the morning, bring it down at night. Lift in the morning, bring it down at night. So keeping your team focused and on the ball all through the week. A weekly one-on-one, just short, is essential. A quick snapshot of how did we go last week? What was awesome? Great. What were you doing to get that result? Let's keep doing that. What wasn't so great? What needs to change this week? What do they need to do differently to be able to improve that result? Okay. Yes, you might lead that conversation for the first couple of weeks, but after that, I would be teaching my staff to bring their weekly report. Please tell me you're using written weekly reports. But after the first couple of weeks, get them to bring that to you so they are responsible for their performance. Here's what I did last week. This was my target. This was my actual. This is what I did really well, and I know I did well there because I was focusing on these areas. Here's where I missed target, and I know that I completely forgot about blah, 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 planning future visits. I really didn't put a lot of effort last week, I know, into home care and educating my client, okay? Get them to link the actions they're doing or not doing with the results they're getting, okay? And taking responsibility for their actions and performance, all right? So we got the morning huddle, the night review, the weekly one-on-one. I'm a dead set fan of a weekly team meeting. Doesn't have to be long, but I believe if you are asking them to perform at this level, you've got to bring them together to kind of reconnect, refocus, talk about whatever's getting a bit bumpy, talk about whatever's not going well, get above the line and approach those problems as a learning experience. Okay, what's not going well? What do we need to learn from that? What systems need to change? What do we need to do differently? What's our new normal and new expectation? And off we go. Okay, and always a learning component to that. Plus, I'll throw in two more. Definitely a monthly, more intensive one-on-one, a bit of a review of what's going well, what needs improvement, but more of a conversation in depth around that, plus time to clean up anything you're not happy with, any issues you need to raise, and depending on how long they've been with you, a quarterly or 6 monthly full thorough review or appraisal, which is absolutely linked line by line to their original job description. Okay, so when you did your induction, you start clean, you said, great, this is how we play here. This is who we are. This is what I'm going to need from you as a team member. This is how we're going to measure your performance and success. This is exactly what we need every client, every time. These are the KPIs that we track, and here's why they're so important. We do this because our commitment to clients is that. We measure this because it's so important to us that every client, every day, we deliver blah, okay? So you can see there's core values that are linked to actions, that are linked to KPIs that we measure. And that really intensive review just measures, here's what we agreed to, here's what we're actually getting, where are the gaps, let's get onto those, all right? And so there's a conversation around, are we being who we said we were going to be, what do we need to do now? Please, if you just said, look, I don't have time to do any of that, then I'm going to say to you, if you expect those outcomes, those results, they are the end result of these systems and processes, these routines humming along in your business, okay? If you want the right outcome, you need to put the right infrastructure in place. So I would challenge you to understand that this is the routine that you need and the commitment that you need to make as the leader to provide the tools, the encouragement, the environment which is going to create the high performance, okay? This has to be in place if you want that. You're not going to get that. It's a dream unless you're prepared to do this, okay? So lots more on that, obviously, in either Leaders Lab or Salon Leader Bootcamp. We tackle those in lots more details to learn how to be a really great coach and how to get your team from here to here. But there's one more element, and that last element is the tricky stuff, difficult conversations. If you started out saying, here's what we need, here's what I'm going to expect, then you're going to have days where you see that not being done, those things not being met, your systems not being followed. What do? I think our very first episode of LeadTV was all around the importance of feedback. In that moment, you make a choice. What do? Do you let it slide and reinforce it wasn't important, okay? Or do you step in and go, hey, no, remember, this is our value, this is what's important, we do it like this. Okay, so no doubt you're going to have some tougher conversations than that though at times, and if you have always shied away from those conversations, if you're someone who kind of sticks their head in the sand a little bit, hopes it'll all go away, or if your gut feeling, your instinct is telling you you probably need to discuss this but you have no idea how because you're terrified it's all going to end in conflict, okay, then the next step for you, the right solution for you, is the more intensive program, Salon Leader Bootcamp. It's 2 days, so we've got heaps of time to do a deep dive into how to approach those conversations without losing your cool, all right? And in a very respectful way so that everyone parts on good terms, but with your rock solid boundaries in place, okay? So if tricky conversations is your thing, they're your area that you need to work on, Salon Leader Bootcamp is for you. But if you are, if you're deciding that this is your year, if you're thinking, you know what, I want to develop those skills, I want to start bringing on staff, or I have brought on staff, but I'm not getting the results that I need, okay? I would encourage you and invite you to approach it from an above the line perspective and look at, what do I need to do? Who do I need to become so that I can get those results from the team? Then guess what is coming up? Leaders Lab. Okay, now Leaders Lab is a group program, ideal for those people who can't get to a physical venue to do the more intensive 2-day program of Salon Leader Bootcamp. If you're regional, okay, this is perfect for you. So as a group over 5 fortnights, we're going to tackle all the thorough stuff, all the important topics that you need to master if you're going to become that level of leader. So I would really invite you, come join us in that. It's a great program. You're going to cover really good fundamentals, ideal for owners, managers of all levels, 2ICs, anyone who thinks they want to manage or own a business one day, or owners, if you've got someone in your business that you want to grow up into your 2IC or your salon manager, this is where you invest, okay? It's super affordable, super easy, super convenient, really great place to be. So guys, I hope you have found that valuable. I hope we have shone a little bit of light on that question of how do I get my staff to do it, right? And utilizing our perspective of above the line, understanding that when we approach that problem, rather than saying, my staff won't do it, we need to think, right, who do I need to be? What do I need to do? How do I need to grow as a leader to be able to draw those results out of my team? Okay, so that's how you get your team to perform. Come join us in Leaders Lab or Salon Leader Bootcamp if that's where you want to grow. Thanks for your time and attention, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.